For the items that we'll need in this project is going to be this wood puzzle from Dollar Tree, this printable from Pinterest, I'll link it down below, this wood stain, this is optional, and a foam brush. Also we'll need some Mod Podge. We will also need some scissors and an Exacto knife, but optional. I'm going to start off by tracing the picture, putting it face down, and my wood going over it all around, even the edges. But if the edges aren't perfect, that's okay, because later on you'll see why. But we're just going to go ahead and trace it. The Exacto knife kind of just speeds up the process without having to cut it. After cutting the square all around, you just want to go ahead and flip the picture over, and you'll see that it is centered. It really depends on how you do it, but you could take scissors after that. The Exacto knife just makes it a lot easier for the precision and also just the I guess convenience of it as well. But you don't have to use an Exacto knife. You can use scissors to do this and trace it out with a pencil, but like I said, it's optional. I just wanted to give you guys a different option. I did pick up the Exacto knife at Dollar Tree as well. I'm just gonna lay to make sure that it is how I wanted it. I will be going around the edges of the picture to make sure I just kind of carve it out how I want it. But like I said, you won't actually really need to do this if you don't want to, because I'll actually be using a sandpaper and just cutting the edges in the end and just kind of rounding them out. So this part, I did it, but you don't need to do it. We'll also be taking some wood stain. I had this in my stash of crafts, so I'll be going all around the edges, just going and filling it out and just adding some stain. It really depends on what you have on hand. If you don't have anything, you can use chalk paint. And then I'll be taking a rag and just going all along the edges to wipe out all the excess stain. As you'll see in the next couple clips, I'll also be going on top of the wood and doing some of the edges, not the entire top of it, just along the edges. So I'll be adding some stain, and then I'll take some of that white rag and just cleaning it off, because you don't want it to have all that stain. You can, but it just takes longer to dry. So I just went ahead and put the stain and then wiped it right off. You want to make sure that the wood stain is dry before you start this. I'm going to take the Mod Podge and just lay it on top of the wood. We're going to be covering the entire surface. I just wanted to make sure I have an even amount of Mod Podge on top of the wood, because when you lay the picture on top, you want to make sure it is going to stay down. So I am just laying a fairly thick coat on top of this so that it could stick onto the wood. When you lay your picture on top of the wood, just make sure that you do strain it out and get the little air bubbles out from the picture. Just want to make sure that they are out, and I will just go over it and just flatten them out. It's fairly easy, but you also want to be careful that the paper does not rip, because again, you're working with paper. If you want to use like a cardstock, you can. This is printer paper, and also I printed my picture 5.75 by 5.75, if that makes it easier for you to print it out, because it fits perfectly, fine on here. Once that has fully dried, I gave it about an hour to dry. Then I went over with Mod Podge on top of it. I did do a generous amount with just a regular brush because I thought it would make it easier, but you can use your foam brush. As you can see, I did have like some spilling over, but that was okay because I wanted a thick coat on top of the actual paper. It would make it easier instead of keep on dragging a small amount of Mod Podge and probably potentially ripping the paper. So I wanted a thick coat on top of it to just layer, and after that I did just clean up the sides and all around it to not leave any drip marks or anything like that. Once that has fully dried completely, I took a sandpaper from Dollar Tree. These are the sheets, and I went along the edges and just really distressed it. The edges, I went all along the sides. Like, you'll see that some of the paper will start ripping, and that's what I wanted. That's why I did the stain a little bit over the edge, because I knew I wanted to distress it further from the edge so that it looked a little bit more distressed. I guess that's what I'm trying to say. So I did go ahead and go all along the edges. Just be careful that, this is paper you're working with, so it'll come off. Like I said, the edges, this is why I said it doesn't really matter on the edges, because you're going to scrape off that excess paper all along. But I really went ahead and just went all around the entire little wood block and did my thing. So it really depends on however you want. You could even do it over on top of the actual words. It really depends, but just be very, very careful on how hard you are with the sandpaper. I am using a 150, and like I said, I purchased it at Dollar Tree. They come in big packs and it has a lot of them. So for this type of project, it is good to use these. Once we have finished the entire thing, this is what my project looks like. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. It's a little bit different for me. I really like doing DIYs for you guys. If you guys do like these type of videos, please give me a thumbs up. That lets me know that you guys do enjoy my DIYs, and I will talk to you guys in another video. Thank you.